Hello, viewers, and welcome back to Let's Do Video, our executive penthouse boardroom. And today I'm here with my old friend, Andy Howard. Andy, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Andy Howard. I'm founding and managing director of Howard and Associates, a consulting company that helps organizations implement video communications. So predominantly video conferencing and video streaming, some digital signage, big video walls. We've done some projects with that, but really anything video in the enterprise, that's what we specialize in. We've had the fortunate ability to work with a lot of the leading companies in the world, including BlackRock, Deloitte, Aetna, Travelers, and then a bunch of sort of more mid-sized companies as well. So it's been good, and it's been interesting to see what these people come up with to help their employees communicate, on a daily basis, and help their organizations be more efficient.
Nice. Now, we've been in this industry for a long time. When we worked together, it was back in the telepresence days. The whole world is not using
Yeah.
telepresence. It seems like we were a little off on that maybe, but it had a great influence. Yeah, I stand by everything I said, loving telepresence. It really it directed us to where we are now. But
Honestly, I think that there's still a lot of opportunities to create an environment where you can get like the telepresence like situation without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, on rooms in order to do that. So, I mean,
arguably,
you just
Zoom
watch it. I
Intelligent
just watch it.
Director. Uh,
What's that?
Arguably, Zoom Intelligent Director is this generation of telepresence.
I like that too. I a lot of what I've seen though, I don't really like people don't a lot of the Zoom fatigue, as I call it, is where organizations, everybody's got their own, individual square, and a lot of people don't like that. But that seems like that's the direction everybody's heading to when you come back to the office. Well, we're going to put you all in your square. But I feel like if you can really show a good picture of the room, that would be a much better scenario. And
Yeah.
the interaction with people in the room, that's why people are in the office, right, is to be able to interact when they're there, and with the people that are not there. But I still think there's ways to go there, and I think hopefully there's some new technologies that are going to come in that are going to help that out.
Yeah, it's a tough problem to solve. If you have a meeting room like this, you want to capture the
Yeah.
whole room because it gives the context of the conversation. But if you capture the whole room, hello, look how small we are. So you want to zoom in
Yeah.
on whoever's talking, or even really zoom in on whoever's talking. But then,
Yeah.
hey, where'd Andy go? So
Right.
it's a tough problem. But we talk about that a lot. What I wanted to have you here today, I want to talk about streaming. I recently did a webinar on tips for being creative with your equipment that you use for live streaming and creating content. And you reached out to me and you're like, "Oh, we should talk about that. That's kind of my thing. That's what I do." And I'm like, "Oh, I love
Yeah.
talking about that too. It's my thing. It's what I do too." So what's exciting you? Or what do you feel like talking about when it comes to the live streaming world? And basically, the way I have this set up, I happened to have clicked the start recording button when we started this session, but if I clicked the live streaming button, we'd be on YouTube right now. This would be a
Right. Yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
So it's all blending together.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of changes over the course of the pandemic, and I think that one of the good things was people realized that, especially though, sort of the one-to-many video delivery is something that has a lot of value, and I'm not sure that that was the case prior to the pandemic. Secondly, I think people have learned it's very powerful and actually not that technically hard to bring presenters in from different locations. So, right, like you and I are doing this today. You're in Florida, I think.
Yep.
I'm up in Connecticut, and it's easy to have this, basically live presentation that both of us are not in the same physical location. That was amazingly challenging, 5 years ago, which
It's still
I
tricky.
What's that?
It's still a little tricky.
It's tricky, but it's not impossible, right?
No,
Like
we're doing it right now.
we can do it, right? And the tools are there to do it. And I think that in the past, a lot of organizations, especially large corporations, had these, they spend a lot of money on these production studios in house, and you know if the CEO or whoever the executive was going to give a presentation of the organization, they had to be in a physical location, like a studio auditorium. And now that can really happen from anywhere, and they can produce the event from anywhere. The people that are doing the production do not have to be necessarily on site. You might have to have a camera crew obviously on site, but that can be freelancers, and it can be relatively cost effective. So I think that's been beneficial. And then the ability to deliver it to an audience that's both on the corporate network as well as out on the internet, is something that in the past has always been challenging. I think it's gotten better, but I have found to some extent that people forget about how challenging it is to deliver it onto their premise when there's thousands, tens of thousands of people watching the same video at the same time. So I've had a couple of clients say, yeah, we're getting rid of our ECDN, which is Enterprise Content Delivery Network, which came about because of the fact that when you're watching a video and there's tens of thousands of people watching it, it's very challenging onto the network. And so I hope people recognize that there still are challenges from the networking piece of it. And like even Zoom, for example, has created a capability now where they're doing a peer-to-peer mesh network. So that's I think very helpful.
The IT people are aware of a challenge. Normal people are not. We're
Yeah,
spoiled by
right.
YouTube. We're spoiled by Zoom. Things just work. What do you mean you have to?
Yeah.
Video takes a lot of network, huh? No, I watch YouTube all day. It's fine. But IT
Well, when
people,
you're sitting
they're
at
aware
home and
of the
you have
challenge.
100 megs of bandwidth, yeah, it's
Yeah, you
going to
got
work.
World of Warcraft going. You
But
got
when
Lord of the
you're
Rings
sitting
coming
in the
down.
office with a lot of other people and you're watching the same video, you don't, that's not the same scenario. So
But you mentioned something else that really leads into to why this is such an interesting topic. When I talk about streaming, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to hear about that. Is I think it's the pandemic. When the pandemic started, a lot of y'all needed help out there. I would get on Zoom meetings and there'd be a lot of people that just had the light behind them. I just see a shadow instead of a face. I see them lying on the couch up the nose. I see the dirty dishes behind. And I was all set out to do a bunch of tutorials on how to fix yourselves, but
yeah,
somehow everyone got the memo before I even got the message. 3 months into the pandemic, everyone started looking good. Everyone started framing themselves nicely, right? Get that nice newscaster framing that we both have right now. Everyone's lighting at least got in front of them instead of behind them. And people started
yeah,
getting better cameras, and people started getting used to being on camera. So now, and people started spending some money. If I'm going to be on Zoom all day or Microsoft Teams all day, you know what? I'm going to get that good lighting. I'm going to get that nice ring light thing. I'm going to get the better microphone so I sound good. And now everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people have acceptable, decent home studios that they're just using for Zoom. Hey, why not record some content for the office for work?
yeah. I agree. I mean, it's a lot of people have done a good job. I personally do not like the fake background. That's why I have a real background here. This is my home office. I feel like a lot of times, if you do not have a powerful enough computer, if you don't have a green screen, you get that effect around your face, especially when you're moving around. That, in my opinion, is very distracting.
By the way,
Um,
our viewers are not seeing your background; they're just seeing what's in my window. So they're
oh,
seeing you
okay.
with the
Well,
background.
sorry
But
about
I'm
that.
I'm using the
I have a very nice
Nvidia's
background. Let's
I'm
let's put
using
it that way.
NVIDIA's virtual background. It does a really good job. It's gotten smarter and smarter. It's been learning from itself. I mean, it's
I
it's it's obviously. I think I look a little better. I have a green screen, so it does a little easier for me than for you. But 3 or 4 years ago, if I was doing this with you, yeah, you would look weird. But yeah, I think it's gotten much
Well,
better.
yeah, it's so the more modern computer you have with NVIDIA and that, and if you have a green screen makes a huge difference. But a lot of people don't have that. So a
Yeah,
lot of people, you've been on the calls, right? Like if I'm moving
it's
around,
blotchy.
a lot of hailing going on, it's in my opinion, it's massively distracting. It's almost worse than just seeing like what's your real background, you know, if you have a dog in the background or whatever. Um, but I do agree that people have definitely up their environments over the course of the last couple of years. I mean, the cameras, obviously, the camera technology is just continuing to get better and better. The audio, I have a Yamaha speaker that I use that is absolutely incredible. The noise cancellation has been, you know, fantastic for me. There was a lot of construction going on here during the pandemic, and you know, even later, and the noise canceling is great. So I think that the technology is helping out, the user education is helping out, and you know, like you said, the that results in better and better quality.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. I think this isn't something we're being forced into. This is something that people are openly accepting. It's just it's I'd rather watch a 30-second video than read another email.
Oh yeah,
I hope it
absolutely.
doesn't get overwhelming. If I have to start watching 200 videos a day, I'm going to start complaining. But we're not getting that. I'm not getting, hey, here's the information you need in video form. I'm still getting everything in email, or worse, meetings.
Yeah,
Have to have a meeting so someone can tell everyone what they could have just sent a little video voice message or video message or whatever you want to call it.
yeah. Well, I think that's important capability that you know Microsoft is coming out with the Copilot and things like that, where you could now make the decision a lot more easily to say, I'm not going to go to that meeting. Like I can watch the recap. I can watch it in 10 minutes versus, you know, a half an hour going to that meeting. But I think my question is whether the user behavior will follow that. You know, there's many times where I've said, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to watch this, you know, webinar or whatever live. I'll just watch it on demand," and you never do
And then I
it.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's starting to help me is, and I think the AI breaking it up is going to help me. Like the chapters on YouTube. It used to
yes,
be if
yes,
you sent me a 3-minute video, I'd watch it. A 5-minute video, I might watch it. A 10-minute video, I put it in my watch later videos and never ever ever watch it. Now, if you send me a 10-minute video, I look for the chapters and go right to the chapters I want. So with AI doing more of that, I think longer videos will be more digestible. They won't just go
I
into that
think the
never watch
ability to
video
do
list.
watch a video at 1.5 or you know even 2x, depending on how fast the person's
Yes.
talking, is also huge. Like I almost exclusively watch videos at 1.5,
Yeah.
1.75 sometimes if it's not that interesting, or 2. But the amount of time it can save, and that you can actually, if you're focusing on that video, you can really take in the key points very quickly. If there's any enterprise video platforms that are not implementing that, I would strongly suggest that they do, because it's hugely important in my opinion.
Yeah. When it's not there, I miss it.
Yeah.
So any tips or tricks for the well, either the home streamer, or if an organization is setting up a dedicated streaming space at the office to do regular streams, any tips or advice?
Well, I would say, you know, first of all, lighting is, you know, still hugely important. You know, even with the cameras as good as they are, lighting is great. If you can get natural light, that's even better. But you know, like you said, there's a lot of you know, lighting fixtures that you can do that are, you know, ring lights and things like that that are relatively cost effective, that make a huge difference. And even, you know, even back in the day, you don't need a great huge area to do it. You need a good green screen, a good camera, some lighting, and some excellent audio. And you know, in a closet, you can even do it. So those are, those are the things. I think if you invest a little bit of money in the lighting and especially the audio and the cameras, the tripod, things like that, it's not that difficult, and you can have a really great environment.
The one tip the one tip that I would give is to see it as a journey. Everything that Andy said, don't just make that into a list and say, okay, I need to save up my money, and when I can buy all these things, then I can start. Start with what
Yeah,
you have.
right.
Even if you watch it and you're like, oh man, I don't like the way this looks. Good. That's incentive for you to make your list of what to make better. And probably what Andy said, the first thing you're going to want to fix is lighting. Good lighting with a mediocre camera is better than bad lighting with a great camera. So you're probably going to want to start with the lighting, but start with what you have, get comfortable streaming, and watch other streamers. And if there's one streamer that, wow, he or she sounds great, I want to sound like him or her, reach out to them and say, what do you use for audio? Use them as a resource, and just don't wait to get started. Don't let money stop you from getting started. Just click that start streaming button.
Yeah, and I would say that if you're doing something that you are, maybe it's a little bit outside of what you're comfortable with, I would definitely use some professionals to help out. So for example, I did a event with a organization a couple weeks ago, and originally it was, oh, it's not a big of a deal, but then they're like, well, it's outside, it's on the 25th floor of this uh, building. The weather report's not looking great. There was 1 week of planning, and I was like, listen, you need some people to come in here to do the audio for this, because this is not going to go well without it. And we got them a camera and set them up to stream it on Zoom and everything. But if they hadn't had that organization, who I'll give a shout out, it's HB Live, a great group of people. If they didn't have that group to come in and basically set everything up for them, it would have been a not a great situation. They Nobody would have been able to hear anything on
Yeah.
the live stream or even in person. Because it was the in-person audio was as important as the stream.
Yeah, it's we were saying just click and just get started. For the typical stream, if you have a
Yeah.
challenging situation, there are
Oh yeah.
professionals out there. Or if you want something more, I produce live streams, I produce videos, I have my tricks. If you want to be
Yeah.
this,
Look
anyone
at
can
this.
do this, but it takes a little while to learn. If you don't want to be an
Yeah.
expert in streaming software, but you want to have some fun stuff, yes, you can hire a professional like me to just kind of come in and set you up, and you just sit in front of Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and me or whoever you hire will take
Right.
care of you and get you where you want to be. There's different, like anything else, there's different levels. There's the do it yourself level, and there's the, hey, we need a little help with this
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
That was a great point. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I just, I look forward to people getting back into the office. I think that's a good thing for my business, and I think it's just a good thing for the for the world in general. Is getting people back together is a good thing. Not that I work at home myself. 2 or 3 days a week is great, but being able to interact with people is good too. And but now being able to do it when you're both in the office and you're remote, and be able to integrate everybody into that is a fantastic thing. So I'm optimistic about the future. It's good.
Yeah, and I like the going back to the office, but not the way we used to. Not
Yeah.
every day, all the time. But I love the expression, and it's not my expression. Everyone's using it. I like to pretend it's mine because I love it so much. But earn my commute. If
Right.
I'm happy with these seats being empty if my team is sitting home working diligently, which they are. If they're going to come in, they're not going to come in just because I want to feel like an important boss. I want to see some people in these chairs. I have to give them a reason. And that reason could just be that we're working on a project where if we're all, as much as I love video, if we're all face to face, we'll really get the work done. I think
Yeah.
earning the commute, a lot of it is really just about the people. but not having them there just to have them there. You know, it's about it's about collaboration, right? So it's always been about.
Yeah. And I think that it's important to also understand how your network has changed and how your user patterns have changed um, pre-pandemic to now, so that you know it. Not everybody was doing video when they were in the office before. In fact, most people were not. So it really puts a bigger load on your network when people are there, and we've seen that a lot. We've seen when people have 20-30% of people coming back into the office, they have network problems. The Wi-Fi is not, the Wi-Fi is 5 years old. It's not going to handle it. So you have to consider that, and make it a great experience for your employees.
It's funny. It's a unique exception. Everything else, if everyone comes back to the office, you get more use. The coffee machine at the office. If everyone goes back to the office, more people will use it. You know,
Yeah,
the
right.
elevators, everything else. But video, if only half the people come back to the office, you use more video. If everyone comes
Yeah,
back to the
right.
office, you use less video because everyone's there.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
one thing that gets less usage the more people that are in the office. So yeah, it's
Right.
exploding. Every room. One of the first things I did was set this up for Teams and Zoom. My fancy display behind me,
Yeah,
because this room is always just going to be half full now.
right.
And we stay half full, not half empty, right? We're optimistic about it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, this was a fun conversation. Thanks for being here. We're a little bit all over the place, but it's just because we haven't chatted in a while and wanted to kind
Yeah.
of keep it loose. So this was great. If anyone
Hey,
wants to
it's been
learn more
great
about
catching
you, I'll
up.
put a
I look forward to seeing you around the various
yeah.
events, and keep in touch.
Are you going to Zoomtopia?
I'm not
Oh,
actually. I was thinking about it, but
I
I
know I
did go a
sometimes
couple
see you
years
there.
ago, and I really wish I was, but I didn't plan ahead enough. Are
I'm going to
you?
be
I'm
going.
assuming you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a great event.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll put all your information in the description so people can reach out and contact you. And
Okay.
thanks
Great.
for being here. And
Yeah.
thanks for
Thanks a
watching,
lot.
everyone.
Appreciate it.